Hi everyone, it's Keely and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a little speed paint. It feels like forever since I've recorded one of these, but yeah, I was just looking back at my channel, and if you guys noticed, the last couple videos I put out were Wicca related, which is obviously different from my channel, but I have been unfortunately pretty swamped with my paid work. So when I have a lot of paid work to do, I can't really contribute in the sense of YouTube videos, because I don't hardly make any money off of YouTube. I think a lot of people probably know that. I think for some reason some people do think I make bank off my YouTube videos, and I can guarantee you that is not the case whatsoever. But yeah, so I haven't been able to make YouTube videos. The only ones I've been able to make were those Wicca related ones, and those ones I made in my free time because I wanted to make them and because I was excited to make that sort of content. But yeah, I've not been making work art related ones for that reason. It just hasn't fit into my work schedule lately. But yeah, where do I start with this? So back in September, I got an email from ReedPop saying that I had been approved to table at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, Washington in March 2020, and I was so excited. I got it right before I was getting on a plane, and it was the last thing that came through before I had to turn my phone onto airplane mode. And I looked at the email and I saw that the title said something like congratulations, and oh god, I had a meltdown. I was like, oh my god, Caleb, my husband. I was like, Caleb, I'm so excited. We're getting to go to Emerald City Comic Con in March. It's or would have been, the biggest convention I'd ever tabled at. Definitely the biggest one I'd ever been accepted to. The biggest one I'd ever been accepted to or tabled at was Rose City Comic Con in Portland, which we lived about 45 minutes outside of Portland, so that's just normal driving distance. We drove home every day. It was an excellent, wonderful, exciting experience, and so I was so excited to get to go to Emerald City Comic Con, especially since last year I had seen so many artists that I really loved and looked up to being able to attend, or they were tabling, and I was so jealous of everyone that got to go in 2019, and so I was like, I'm definitely applying for that one this year. So I applied and I got accepted, and I was so excited. It was probably the most excited I had ever been to get accepted to a convention, but the only exception would be the very first one I got accepted to, which was KomoriCon in Portland. Shout out to y'all if y'all have attended. You know what's good. But which they've turned me down every year since then, so my feelings aren't hurt, but yes they are. Anyway, but I'm sure, as a lot of you know, the coronavirus is sweeping the nation and honestly the world right now. And a couple days, I want to say on March 6th, they tweeted out and emailed out to their creators and attendees that they would be canceling the convention due to an outbreak of COVID-19 in Seattle at the time. And I'm not gonna lie, had a really good cry, a couple of really good cries. I don't know if this is something that all convention artists or all artists who have merchandise manufactured can relate to, but I really have to work myself up to a point of ordering a lot of merchandise. I'm always very, very stressed that it will not be able to sell, or that it won't be good, or people won't like it, whatever. And finally, for this convention, I had worked myself up to investing a lot of money, I'm gonna say a lot of money, into merchandise, because I was like, hey, this is the biggest convention I've ever been to. I've honestly in the past done really well at conventions. I've been very fortunate that you guys and other attendees who aren't familiar with my work have always been very supportive of every convention I've been at, and so I was like, hey, I feel comfortable making this choice. I mean, comfortable enough to make the choice, but not comfortable as in positive everything was going to go okay. But I was like, I'm pretty sure I can at least make my money back, and that's all I'm asking for, because either way, this is going to be a really cool experience. And they tweeted out that the convention was canceled, and I can't tell you how heartbroken I was. And I want to just take a moment to say that I'm very glad that they did cancel the convention. I was very stressed about the prospect of getting sick, I'm not personally concerned for my personal health. I am in close contact with a lot of people who mean a lot to me and are either immune compromised or would otherwise be vulnerable during the course of this virus. And so I was really nervous because I'm like, what if I don't show symptoms? You know, all the things that everyone thinks about. And I was also really glad that attendees that were going to be at this convention who may be vulnerable but also weren't maybe in a position to cancel and get a refund on their tables, they weren't going to have to make that decision to not go, and they were going to be able to guiltlessly protect themselves during this time because obviously, you know, capitalist America, baby. If you're not hustling, you're not paying your bills. So while it's unfortunate that a lot of these people are not making that money back, and B, did have to cancel, I'm glad that that ReedPop was making the choice to protect the community as a whole. And since then, we've seen a lot of other conventions and events cancel, which is obviously heartbreaking because a lot of these things, like I was looking forward to this for 7 months, so I cannot even imagine the events that have been canceled that people have been looking forward to for even longer, or how many people had had their hopes up for this particular convention much longer than that. They'd been planning ahead for years, all of this sort of stuff. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this for 7 months. I had been planning my merchandise and working on it for that long. That's how long it took me to make all of the things that I was bringing with me. So it was devastating. But then again, I cannot reiterate this enough. I'm glad that they made the choice to protect the community as a whole and, you know, do their part in keeping their community safe. So that was pretty cool of them. But anyway, so I was, to say the least, emotional, heartbroken, destroyed, you know, it's whatever. But so I decided to take this week to make some YouTube videos because I had cleared this week of my typical work so that I would be able to be in Seattle, and then they canceled. So I was like, well, I have the week, so I'm going to make some YouTube videos. I have the time. I don't have a lot better to do, honestly, because it's not like we can really go out and do anything right now anyway, because in Oregon anyway, they just postponed school for 2 weeks. Everything around here everything that's recreational has been shut down for the time being. So yeah, I was like, well, it can take a lot of time. What can I do? Hold up in my house for the next week or so? And the answer was make YouTube videos. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This one was actually a really personal piece for me, which I'm always hesitant to do for the internet, just because I've had experiences with people who have had less than wonderful intentions on the internet, and it always just makes me hesitant to like bare my soul, you know? But this was a drawing of my childhood home, actually. I moved out of this house when I was 14, and I moved to the town that I live in now, which I love, and I would never unmake that decision. Obviously, it wasn't mine to make. I was 14. My parents moved me here. But it was where I met my husband. It was where I rented my first apartment. I've just had so many memories here. I love it. But this was my childhood home that I grew up in. And I recently found out that since we'd moved out of it, it's been torn down. And that was a lot of different kinds of feelings because I always felt a little bit of unfinished business there. I don't really know what it was, but it was just, I don't know. I didn't feel like I left it on the best terms because I did not want to move when we moved. And so I always kind of thought that I would like come back to it. And I have driven past it and stopped by the property a couple times because no one had been living there. So I'd been able to stop by and have a look, but it just always felt like unfinished business. And then when I found out it had been torn down, I don't know. It was just like a lot to process. And I just felt like I wanted to create this little piece of my little slice of childhood being watched over in some sort of way. Yeah, I don't know. It's personal and kind of sad, but I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's been so supportive of my work recently. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Start your computations.